So, Seattle goes to San Francisco. I feel like this is the earliest we played them in a few years, at least that I can
Yeah.
remember. But the surprise to me is San Francisco is an 8.5 point favorite. Obviously they lost to Chicago in what was a literal like downpour, torrential downs. I don't
It
even
was a
know. It
monsoon.
was bad.
It was good. Yeah.
Um, but does that surprise you at all? I know obviously the national media again thinks that it was just an emotional game. Seattle's going to fall off a cliff essentially. It's all going to kind of go downhill after the Russell Wilson game, which I mean I can kind of understand, but there were some things that I actually liked when I watched the game that I don't think is just an emotional
Right.
spur of the moment kind of thing. 8.5 points. Does that surprise you at all?
No. Doesn't surprise me. We're going down to San Francisco, so that doesn't surprise me. Um, it doesn't surprise me that Lance is playing for his playing time right now, and
Yeah,
Shanahan is actually playing for his job.
it feels like
Uh,
it. Yep.
yeah, the pressure is all on San Francisco on this game, all on San Francisco. Which either they're going to rise to the occasion. They definitely have a defense that could rise to the occasion. That's
Hmm.
that's the one thing that scares me is even in regards of the game. Um, they definitely have an offense that can hold on to the ball. I
Yep.
expect them to definitely
Time of
outperform in
possession.
that
Yeah.
area. Um, the defense is definitely better than Seattle's defense at this point. And I think just with all the pressure, I think they're going to try to do some stuff to get Lance out of the pocket, maybe doing a little more athletic with his stuff to try to see what they can do against the Seahawks. Um, and I just think Shanahan can kind of see he's got some rookies to go up against, in the corners, especially against Woolen. I think he's going to use that to his advantage after seeing it now that they're on tape. So I don't think it's far fetched. Um, I can see why the national media kind of put it up that way. Um, I just think their defense, and again, if we play anything like we did in the second half against San Francisco's defense, we're not scoring.
Yeah. I
We
would
might
agree
get
with
some
that.
field goals out of it, but I don't see we will have the same success as we did with our tight ends like we did in the first game. So um, that's surprising, but pressure's on San Francisco. Shane Waldron can do just about pretty much whatever he wants to do with Geno because Geno knows the playbook.
Hmm.
It wouldn't surprise me if we have another game 17-16.
Yeah. No.
Absolutely.
No. I definitely agree. I feel like 9.5 might be a little much for me.
Nine and a half,
Um,
too much, yeah.
yeah, or I guess 8.5 is what I have up there. I
And
saw
that's
nine and
come
a half
down from
earlier.
11, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But there's a couple things to touch on that I at least want to talk about real quick. At least maybe matchup wise, just because you said some things and some things I'm a little bit interested in as well. But like you said, Trey Lance scrambling. Last week he did scramble for 13 times and 54 yards to a 4.2 average. So um, I would imagine there's going to be a quarterback spy on Trey Lance. A
It
lot
better
like
be.
what they do with
Yeah.
Kyler and some of the other mobile quarterbacks out there. I'll be curious who they are because I did go back and watch some more of the Bronco game, and Cody Barton wasn't as good as I thought he was after my first watch through. So that does make me a little worried, and I would much rather have Jordan Brooks be able to just play defense rather than watch Trey Lance the whole time. Um, you mentioned Debo Samuel, or at least targeting Tarek Woolen.
Yeah.
I actually don't think they're gonna. I think Woolen's too fast. He's too fast, and he'll be able to keep up with Samuel. I'd look for them to have Debo in the slot a lot more because
Yeah.
him against Justin Coleman, that's a mismatch
That's
for
a
sure.
mismatch. Yeah.
Where even Woolen at least has the size, so uh, we'll definitely
As
see.
long as Woolen can learn how to not grab, that'd be his biggest
Yeah,
thing.
I mean, and to be fair, one of the pass interference I didn't agree with, but one
No,
I'll give
should have
for
been.
sure.
Yeah.
Um, but so I would think that, and then the other thing I was kind of watching this earlier, and going back to Trey Lance, but what they like to do, we're going to take a delay a game because this is things to talk about.
You bet.
But they've had three on the right, one on the left. George Kittle is also on the left, right next to Trent Williams, the left tackle. And what they'll do, I've seen it at least once, a couple times, but they'll motion the outside receiver on the left to the right. And then once they snap the ball, George Kittle will take I guess that would be the left end, and Trent Williams will actually pull around Kittle to go to the outside, which leaves Trey Lance having Trent Williams as the lead blocker. So that makes me a little nervous because we're a little bit undersized there, and I would expect Trent Williams to do what he does, being one of the best left tackles in the league. But the last thing real quick, Charles Cross and Abe Lucas have another matchup this week with Nick Bosa and Samson Ebukam. I don't know how to say his last name, but I know he's good. So that's going to be another one to watch out for, as I think they did the test pretty well in week 1. Can they follow that up again in week 2?
Expect to see a couple more double tight end sets on this one.
I would think so too. Yep. Yeah, I would definitely probably expect to see more 12 personnel than what we saw in week 1.
Yeah.
I do kind of like that pistol set they had where with the two like the H and the Y right next to Geno and Rashad Penny in the back. I kind of like that, but I would expect probably more guys on the line to help those two.
At least to start out with to see how they do.
See what they do exactly.
Because at least Shane Waldron is willing to change.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
And hopefully he does not do what he did last week in the second half.